of all, let me thank you for having me here to do this. It's one of the things that's near and dear to my heart, and it could be any of the survivors here speaking tonight, but I just feel fortunate that I'm lucky enough to be the one that was chosen. So, and one would think that having been in this realm for about 3+ years now, that I would know the attire for the night. I walked into a sea of pink, proudly sporting my new shirt, which obviously isn't pink, but I did bring my keychain, which has the little breast cancer symbol on it, so I'm not completely out there. So, that pretty much talks about the journey, but I just thought that I should share with you the things that I've learned during my journey with breast cancer. And the first thing that I learned was said to me by my son Jason, and he wrote me a card right away, and just this goofy little card, and inside the card it said, "Cancer doesn't have you, you have cancer." And I think that's something that everybody remembers or everybody needs to remember, because when you're in the middle of a breast cancer or any cancer diagnosis, it is all consuming. You go to bed at night and you think, "Oh, I have cancer." And you open your eyes in the morning and you say, "Oh, I have cancer." And as you go throughout the day, it almost consumes your every thought. It's very difficult to put that cancer diagnosis aside and actually do your activities of daily living and do the things that you need to enjoy. So just keep in the forefront of your mind, cancer doesn't have you, you have cancer. But there are other things that I've learned. And probably one of the most important things is that you can use a cancer diagnosis. Now that may sound a little strange, but you can get pretty much anything you want. If you're playing cards and you need a card, we play a game called May I at my house. May I have that card? No. I have breast cancer. I really need that card. Oh, here. Or my one friend, I said, I really love potato candy. And I have breast cancer. And very quickly I had potato candy. It was pretty awesome, but that didn't work for a really long period of time because they did figure me out after a while. So you can use it. Another thing that I learned is losing your hair can be a party. I was in the shower, I pulled out a fistful of hair and I went, "Ugh." And I reached up and I pulled out another fistful of hair and I went, "Ugh." Here it is. As much as you anticipate it, when it actually starts to go, it's just this sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. And my son was home at the time, and I went out to him, and I said, and I quote, "Jason!" And I sobbed and cried and carried on like a 2-year-old. And then I said, "Oh, enough of this. Call your father," who happens to be my ex-husband, who would be the last choice for cutting your hair off, "and tell him to bring the clippers over." So he brought the clippers over. My 2 sons, my daughter-in-law, my best friend, and several spectating neighbors came over, and we started chiseling away at my hair, and they carved these great intricate patterns in my head. And everybody laughed like they were crazy, except for my one daughter-in-law who said, "I don't think we should be laughing at this." And my son said, "It's all right, Mom's laughing." So one of the things that I really, really learned was it's important to laugh. That's how you survive. Laugh as often as you can. Laugh as much as you can. Cancer can be funny. I know that sounds insane, but some funny stuff happens to you when you have cancer. So laugh when you can, but cry when you need to. There are times when the tears just come. It's absolutely overwhelming. That is cleansing. It's good for you. Laugh as much as you can and cry when you need to. Number 5. A head is a wonderful art canvas, especially when you have a head that's as big as mine. People tease me all the time for my head size. I could use this. It was the middle of summer. I didn't want to wear a wig. I didn't want to wear head covers. That my bald head was a sign that the chemotherapy was working for me. I have chemo in my body. I am a warrior. This is my bald-headed helmet. I think I'll decorate that. So I got all of the temporary tattoos, and I slapped tattoos upside my head. And they couldn't wait when I walked into the oncology center to see what I was going to be sporting on my head that day. When I worked in the nursery, it was very obvious to me. I slapped big bird tattoos on my head. You know, it was a wonderful thing. You saw my breast cancer tattoo in the video. I enjoyed my bald head. And the bald head was actually, I think it made me more approachable to people. And it's not for everybody. You know, I just kind of have that out there personality. Some people are very private and introverted, and they can't do the bald scene, but oh, the bald scene worked for me. And, you know, my best response was from the night shift supervisor. I was sitting, Lisa, okay? I was sitting at the desk at work, and she came around the bed, and she went, huh? Is everything okay here tonight? Yes, everything's fine. And she left. Like, oh, this is great. You know, I could really get people with this. But it also, I was in Costco, and I wasn't feeling well, and I was sitting down, and about a little 8-year-old girl came up to me, and she said, "Do you have cancer?" And I said, "Yes, I do." She said, "My mommy has cancer, and she is very, very brave, and so are you." Oh my goodness. Rip your heart out and lay it on the table. You know, I couldn't even respond to that little girl. I smiled at her, and she just happily walked away. And I thought, oh, that is just, wow. And then there was a little girl, I was in Martin. She looked like she was about 16, and she looked at me and she went, "Do you have cancer?" Yes. She said, "My mom has cancer. I just found out my mom has cancer. I just found out, and I'm so scared." And I took that little girl out in the parking lot, and we talked for about 15 minutes, and I said, "Look at me, you know, I'm doing my marketing. I bought chocolate. You know, it's okay, you know. I know you're scared to death." But I had a lot of encounters like that where I was able to reach out to people and touch some people, and that was a great thing. The other thing I discovered, in case you're fighting the battle and you're bald, if you wear very large earrings, people don't notice you're bald. They look at those earrings, and that's all they see. They don't see the giant bald head glowing in the sunshine. They just see the big earrings. So, you know, if you happen to be battling cancer of any kind now, just go out and increase your earring wardrobe. Big, I'm talking big. The other thing that I discovered is that oncology nurses and staff rock. There is no group of people in the world, and I'm a nurse, there is no group of people in the world like the oncology nurses as far as I'm concerned. Are there any of you here? No, none of them here tonight to hear my glowing tribute. But the people in the cancer center, Tina's here from the cancer center, the people in the cancer center, the staff from housekeeping to the manager are simply amazing, compassionate, wonderful people. If you ever think you need to leave town to get good treatment because this is Cumberland, that's not the case. The care right here in Cumberland, Maryland is absolutely remarkable. And the care from the Cancer Society through Tina is amazing. She would go out and walk on water if she thought it was going to help a patient. And that's the way the staff is in the Cancer Center. They are simply remarkable. I love each and every one of them. They cry with you. The other thing, number 8, for those of you who are counting, chemo ain't for sissies. I want to start a t-shirt line, you know, or maybe perhaps crowns. Chemo ain't for sissies. Chemo is difficult. It ravages your body. It makes you feel, I can't even tell you what it makes you feel like. How many of you have had chemo? Makes you feel pretty crappy, doesn't it? That's the only word I can use for it. So chemo ain't for sissies. However, number 9 is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You know, several of us here have been through chemo, we've been through radiation, and here we are partying at the Making Strides for Breast Cancer kickoff. And yes, amen for that. And probably the most amazing thing that I learned was how many people cared about Debbie Fornwalt. It was incredible. You know you have friends, you know that your family loves you, but the tremendous outpouring of support is simply remarkable. I had cards in the mail every single solitary day for 3 months. I still have them. They're in my living room in a basket. And when I'm feeling down and I think that, you know, you only need to look at that basket to know that there are so many people out there that care about me. And there are so many people out there that care about each and every one of you. It's a shame it takes a cancer diagnosis to realize that, or at least to enforce the fact that you know how much people care about you. So many little things happened. My coworkers got a giant white quilt with squares. And every person in the department, in the hospital, anybody that walked in, they said, "Here, sign this." And they drew pictures on it, and they wrote things on it, and they laughed on it, and some of them cried on it. And when I was in the hospital with fungal pneumonia, that picture where you saw me wrapped up like a mommy, they brought this quilt to me. And when I look at that quilt, you know, you just feel like you're wrapped in love. It is an amazing feeling. So there are lots of good things that come out of the breast cancer or the cancer diagnosis, and that's just an amazing thing. A gentleman at my church, about every 3rd day, hung 2 tomatoes on my front door. I didn't find out who he was until about a year later. You know, people think that they don't make a difference, but every little thing that you do, every single thing that you do, every phone call, every card, every tomato, every prayer, and folks, you can feel prayers, every little thing makes a difference. And the last thing that I want to say is that you have an opportunity to pitch in here. Making Strides is a wonderful way to support someone. It's a wonderful way to support cancer survivors everywhere. It's a wonderful way to support the research. It's a wonderful way to support just the Cancer Society in general. And I know I'm speaking to the choir here because that's the reason that all of you are here tonight. But I, as a cancer survivor, appreciate each and every single one of you and the work that you're going to do. If you raise $1 on your team, that's $1 that they didn't have before. You know, if you raise a couple of $1,000s, rah, good for you. But every single solitary little thing that you do makes a difference. So step out in this program and make strides and be proud of the strides that you're making and work hard and make this Making Strides for Breast Cancer the best one ever. Thank you so much.